So welcome back to my channel. This is Gamer Dom and another rambles from the week in World of Tanks. So what's coming up? Look at what to expect over the Christmas period, the start of the Advent calendar and other stuff. The possible date for the new patch coming in this month in December. Also some changes to the Auf Panzer, some changes to the new French heavies on the test server, and a look at discussion of some of the maps, HD maps coming into the game, and lots of other good stuff. So let's get started. So reports about the Auf Panzer, the Auf Panzer 5, the upcoming Tier 8 Premium Light German tank. So originally it was been tested with the very accurate 7.5 centimeter gun, 75mm gun, which has very high rate of fire but poor alpha. So they're all now testing it with the 105mm derp gun. So basically a bit like, you remember the old VK used to have, which was really nice. I used to like that tank, and then they took it off and I sold the tank because there was no point anymore keeping it. But if they put the HE firing gun on this thing, it becomes something a bit different, and that, to me, that's what I want in these premiums and new vehicles, is just something a bit different. If they're all the same, what's the point? So driving around a tier 8 light tank which can ram things and has a derp gun, to me suddenly becomes a bit more appealing. Now the problem with that is obviously derp guns are not very accurate and don't tend to have very good penetration, but they make up for it in terms of HE damage. So this 105mm will have penetration, is that right? Yeah, 167mm of penetration with AP, 200 with heat, and 105 with HE, 330, 330 and 430 average damage, but dispersion goes to 0.42 and aim time of 1.5. The aim time's not too bad, but dispersion is horrible. But potentially you could see this as a really nice tank, just which I used to use with the VK. You do a bit of scouting, and then towards the end game you go absolutely ballistic, charging around the battlefield, going up behind big tanks and derping them in the arse with an HE shell, and then scurrying off into the distance, and that's kind of fun way to play it. This goes 65 kph, so that becomes a viable tactic, and at least, as I say, would be something different, and to me that's what I want. So hooray, Wargaming are actually doing something sensible with this thing, if they go ahead. So they'll decide which of the two guns they put on it at the end of this testing. Knowing how much the Uniscum hate HE firing guns, it'll probably come with a 75mm, and then nobody will buy it. Oh, time for another developers Q&A. We love a developers Q&A. So this is another one from must have been from November, meeting between the North American EU community teams with some of the developers. Mainly looking at the HD maps and the themes there. So they're continuing to push ahead with those new HD maps, which look damn nice, if I'm honest. What's interesting is that they apparently have to implement all the HD maps at once. They can't run standard definition and HD maps at the same time, so it means any sort of delivery date for the new maps will take a little bit of time, because they need to do it in one go, and they can't really, well, they're saying they don't want to upset the player base by announcing a date for when that will be, and then having to push it back. So hey, there you go. What's interesting as well is that they're muting the idea of that you can block certain maps. So if there are certain maps that you don't like, you can potentially block them. Now they're saying that presents a lot of challenges, but there certainly is an idea they're looking at. Now I have mixed feeling about this. I mean, what's good? So what's good with being able to block a map? Say you're taking artillery out, you could block all the city maps, so you only get open fields, which would be kind of cool if you're in artillery. Be bloody shit if you're on the other side, that every time you go on Properovka or Malanovka, there's 3 artillery on the enemy team, because they've all blocked the city maps, and they keep getting those maps. However, if you're trying to do a mission, for instance, trying to do heavy tank mission, you might well just want the city maps to be able to do that. So there's kind of benefits there, but I think on balance, I think part of the challenge of this game is having the ability to deal with the different maps that you get. If you knew what they were going to be, it would change the game, to my mind. Also, you could have somebody who only ever plays Himmelsdorf, for instance. That's all they ever play. I don't know, it just seems wrong somehow. Much as part of me thinks, yeah, that'd be fantastic. So anyway, whatever, that's what they're looking at. Potentially doing that, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. The other thing they talked about was game balance. So my favourite topic, the Japanese super obese heavy tanks. They're saying they don't think they're overpowered, but we do get the pain they inflict on skilled players, as they're pretty easy for inexperienced players to play. So, there's certainly an emotional weight to it. Basically, they're being nagged by all the super unicums to remove the HE guns from the Japanese tanks. Now, again, this is something I talk to a lot when I'm playing. I like my Japanese super heavies. I like the fact I can dirt people in the face, particularly unicums, because I just think it annoys them, and that really makes me happy. However, so my point about this is not just because I'm naturally contrary in terms of nature, is that they complain bitterly about being derped by people unskilled, as they see, with HE, but they think nothing of loading up the premium shells and just blasting them into everything, where they don't really need to worry about where they're aiming or anything else. So what is the difference, right? If you're gonna stop people firing HE shells or limit them in some way, for frig's sake, limit the premium rounds. Then it all becomes even. If the unicums can't run around firing gold and heat shells left, right, and centre out of their Object 140s or their T54s or whatever it may be, then it becomes more of an even fight. So to me, it's an irrelevance. Just because good players are bitching about the fact that, oh dear, a 51%er's shooting me with HE and it's not fair, they don't have to aim. Screw them, basically. But Wargaming only ever listen to the unicums, so I expect at some point my beloved Japanese super obese tanks will be nerfed in some way. But it doesn't look like it will happen anytime soon. What they've got lots of ideas for new tanks, but they're not sharing anything right now, so it'd be great stuff for next year, right? Okay, well, I think the Polish line is definitely coming at some point, and there's rumours an Italian line as well, but we'll see. We made a lot of changes to the tech lines over the past year to give them more meaning. We're considering all options for removal or replacement of tanks, and we vote internally for the favoured solution, whether that's splitting a tree in two and allowing people to grind both the old and new tank, or making old machines a relic. Sorry. Now, I did hear they were talking about moving the T10 out because that doesn't fit the IS line. We shall see whether that comes off, but clearly they're looking at it, and I think it makes sense because some of the lines were a bit weird. I mean, they really need to look at the Swedish line, for instance. It goes light tank, medium tank, heavy tank. Now, where's the logic of that, right? We're going to keep working on this. Some of the and hope to reach some tanks that have kind of remained in the shadows for a while, like some of the Clan Wars reward tanks. However, it'll take a while to get there. Okay. Matchmaking. Current data is showing the balancer is working as expected, but there's still been some issues and we need to do some work, and we'll continue to make more adjustments. And I think in terms of so the couple of things they changed. They definitely seem to have changed the matchmaking you get with a tier 8 tank. It's slightly better than it was. You don't always get tier 10s now. There's a more reasonable balance, which I think is good. The thing they tried to change in the last patch is the balancing up of tanks. So if you've got Japanese super obese tanks on one side, you'll have something super heavy on the other side to match it up. You know, if you've got a top tier autoloader on one side, you'll have an autoloader on the other side, and so forth. And that seems to be the way they try to do it. Now, largely, I haven't noticed that that's been a problem, and I've only noticed it a couple of times where it hasn't worked. So I guess that's probably indicates that it is working, because you only really notice when it goes wrong, don't you, really? Anyway, so that's that. New Year's event. So last year we had the Christmas tree and the Festive KV2, didn't we, where we had to collect baubles and whatnot. So they're going to do something similar this time. I thought that was jolly good fun. We got a whole load of Swedish girl crew, which was fantastic. So it'll be interesting to see what we get this time round. But it looks like that's coming back as well, which will be great. Plus the garage will be customised and so forth. Talking about customization, so this is something we talked about in the last Rambles. Well, I talked about, you not talking, are you? Anyway, about customization so putting the ability to change vehicles in terms of their look, their color schemes and what have you. And they're only looking at tiers 8, 9 and 10 at the moment. So this has been talked about for a while. Frankly, it's a way for wargaming to make more money, because of course you'll have to pay for it in gold. But this ability to personalize your tanks in some way. So they're looking at various systems to do this, and if you've looked around some of the forums, you've seen some of the examples of this, but some different colors and what have you. And there will be options so that if, you know, you can't do things like a pink tank. Sorry about that. Somebody was very upset about that. But there's sort of limitations in terms of the colors you're allowed to choose and how you build them. But the ability would be to make something slightly stand out from the rest, and people like that. So hey, knock yourself out, I guess. To me, it's a bit of an irrelevance, but hey, if people want to do it, that's fine. So you can do it with silver for a limited period, like you can with the normal, and permanently with gold. You'll also get the normal camo bonuses that you get with it. Now they're talking about there would be, I don't know if it's here, but some elements like historical camels will be limited to certain nations. Others will be available to every nation. So, you know, I think, yeah, whatever, if that's the way you want to spend your money, good on you. I did read on one of the other blogs that actually there will be a way that you can click a button and only see historically accurate camo. So if it offends you to see lots of weird shit driving around at you, then you can click a button and go back to having normal stuff. I don't mind, as long as it's not the bloody awful Patriot and Liberté camo, which is just god awful and should never have been allowed into the PC game. But anyway, at least you have the option to remove it. But it looks like these things are going to be slightly authentic, but a little bit different, so you can fiddle around with them. So good on you if you want it, if you like it. If you've got your particular tank that you absolutely adore and you just want to stand out slightly, then go for it. I could see maybe a clan might do it, for instance, for their clan wars. They might want to put every tank in the clan to have the same camo. That would be interesting, so they all look like a uniform, bit like the if you watch the esports games, they all have, you know, their own camo for their teams, so that could be interesting. I know there is a second version of this customization they're working on, which is the 3D version of it, which will allow you to put special sort of equipment and stuff like that on the back of your tanks. So just no effect on the gameplay, absolutely nothing at all, just makes it look good. So hey, if that turns you on, then you're in the right place. So talking about HD maps, this is a look at the new HD Fjords map, which is being tested at the moment. Now they warn the graphics setting isn't quite right on this video, but it still looks damn good, doesn't it? Kind of eye candy or what? These HD maps do definitely look a lot better. Oh, that's all new up there. Look at that area up to the left there. Wonder if you can access it. Anyway, it's interesting to see what they've done with these maps, and I think they're definitely better looking as HD. It does look like you can climb up there down that K45 area, which will make some interesting tactical decisions. Sunken ship in the harbour there, look at that. It's kind of nice. Very, very bleak looking down this cap, though, very open. Very nice. This is the sort of quality we can expect to see with the new maps. And they do look very, very nice. There's no doubt about it. And the way that there doesn't appear to be any edges now, because they've moulded them in a way that they sort of float off into the distance. So it doesn't look like you're contained within a border, even though you are. This middle area is very, very open. That's going to be a very narrow bit here, fighting your way around the red line to the boundary, but it still continues behind it. Nice waterfall. So very, very funky looking, very nice indeed. Anyway, enough of that, let's have a look at Erlenberg. So here we go, here's Derpenberg, HDified, oops, let's get rid of that advert. Again, it's on medium graphic setting, so those of you who run big units, you'll be able to get even better quality pictures. Winter map, obviously. Does look good though, doesn't it? I mean, I hate this map. It's wrong in every way. I still think the caps ought to be on the same side. It would make the map so much better to play. But boy, is it visually stunning. I mean, I just want to play on this. It looks real. This looks like a flyover of a helicopter flying over a real field to me. Seems to be much more open than it was. Less hills. The central area here is going to be much more important to fight over, I think. Look at the water texture. Oh, you can go under the water too. Hopefully we won't be seeing that too often, because if you do, it means you've fallen in. Texturing is fantastic. Just eye candy, isn't it? I mean, you know. Will it change the gameplay? Actually, it probably will, because it looks like they've altered quite a bit of the terrain subtly. There's less hills. Built-up areas are probably going to be more important than they currently are, which means heavies are going to have more fun on this map. Yeah, this is kind of nice. Very, very cool. So there you go. There's two of the HD maps they're looking at. Bear in mind these are all in test phase. So, and as that Q&A said, they are going to be introducing all the HD maps in one blur. So because they can't run HD and standard variants all the time at the same time, so that presents a challenge. But it's going to be worth it, I think, when these arrive, because they are fantastic. Now, what impact they're going to have on your PC rates, I don't know. Wargaming have always tried very hard to minimise the graphical impact on computers, mainly because so many of the Russian players run on fairly basic rigs, and bear in mind that's where their main audience is, so they can't afford to piss them off too much. But here we go. Oh, this is an ultra setting, so you get to see even better quality. Anyway, go and look at these videos if you're interested. I think it's just stunning, absolutely stunning. Look at that. It is like you're there. It's like this stuff is real. It's for old fogies like me, who just, you know, I grew up programming a BBC computer where you just you play table tennis with it or something like that. This is just enjoy. So Christmas is a time of giving to wargaming. We have traditionally get lots and lots of deals going on, lots of ways to spend money, and a few missions and what have you, and special things that happen over the month. And this month is no different. So they're doing something slightly different this month. So normally we have a top of the tree vehicle which allows you to. So this is EU server, guys. So just say You know that the US, you tend to know a long time in advance what you've got, but we don't on the EU. So top of the tree for only 2 weeks till the 12th of December is the FV215B 183, the Death Star. This is obviously being switched out. Now the fact it runs to the 12th of December would tend to suggest that the patch is coming around the 12th of December. Yeah, don't call me Sherlock for nothing. So what happens, basically, if you're driving the Death Star or any of the tanks in that line, so the Tortoise, the ATs, you will get bonus crew experience for every battle you play. And all the tanks in that line are offered a reduced price, including the Death Star itself. And also the Tortoise will be reduced in terms of credits you need to get it. So that's a good way to, if you're grinding on your final sort of landing for the to get the Death Star, that might help you just to get it before the Death Star gets moved out of the game for good and comes back as a premium, but is no longer available in the tech tree, and you get the Badger instead. So my guess is that 13th of December is when we will be getting the patch, judging by that. Anyway, what else from this weekend? So Saturday to the Monday, well actually it's Tuesday first thing in the morning, isn't it? The 2nd to the 4th, there will be ×2 crew experience, presumably per battle. So there you go, ×2 for every battle. The 5th to the 15th for 2 weeks. Basically, for the solid 2 weeks, you will get ×3 XP for your first victory with each of your tanks. So that will help. There'll also be some little missions apparently as well, so we'll see. The 9th to the 11th, a couple of discounts, bonuses, and a mission to get ready for the bigger specials happening at the end of the month, and ×2 crew experience per battle. Then over the actual Christmas period itself, 23rd to the 31st of December, discount frenzy, they say. Amazing discounts on a huge variety of vehicles, premium accounts, and other services in the game. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, Wargaming, whether they are amazing. Generally, they're just meh. 27th to the 29th of December, ×5 XP multiplier for the first victory of the day. For first 2 days to unlock more modules and even a new vehicle, and complete a special vehicle to get a tasty box full of food. Okay, so there you go. So that will be useful if you're playing over the Christmas period. And 30th to the 1st of January, you will get ×3 for the first victory of the day again, and there'll be some Happy Holidays specials available. So there you go, that's what's coming. Big news is the Death Star looks like you've got, well, 12 days basically to get and buy the Death Star before it is swapped for the Badger. But to help you along the way, it looks like Wargaming are giving us some nice extra credits, and which is good, and it'll be cheaper when you actually buy it, so it won't cost us 6 million. It normally does. It will only be 5 million or something, but anyway, good for you. So lots of other good stuff, so enjoy the Christmas period. Hopefully you'll do something other than just sit on the computer and play tanks, but anyway, if you are, then there's goodness to be had. Oh, and as luck would have it, the North American guys have already put up what to expect through December, which is great for you guys, so I can talk about it. So you'll get the Advent calendar, same as, I think the Advent's for every region, to be honest. The on track for the month, they do it differently in North America, don't you? So you already have it for 2-week periods. So for the first 2 weeks of the month, 1st to the 15th of December, it's the Sheridan, the Tier 10 American light tank. Then over the Christmas period itself is a bit of festive love with the Conqueror gun carriage, the orbital gunship, British Tier 10 artillery. And then the 29th to 12th of January is the Mouse and the Panzer Kampfwagen 7, the German Tier 10 heavy branch. That's interesting, it's both of them. That's very interesting. Anyway, so you'll get discounts, bonuses for playing vehicles in that line, and it'd be cheaper to buy those tanks, which is good. So other things, 7th to the 18th, weekly deals, earn, advance, expand and boost. No idea what they mean, but I guess earning is earning more credits. Maybe advance is, no, maybe that's earn. Oh, I don't know. One will be earning more, whatever. There'll be bonuses of various types. Doesn't tell you any huge amount of detail. The Ace Tanker Mastery Badge will unlock a special emblem on variety of text. Now, I wish we had this on other servers. So the way this works is that if you are driving one of these vehicles in this time period, so for instance, if I'm out driving my Tiger 1 between the 8th and the 18th of December and I ace it, I get a special emblem. And I think that's kind of cool. I like that. I think that's really cool. I wish we had that on the EU server. But there you go. There's different ones each week. 3 tanks each, or 4 tanks on that week, where you can earn the special emblem if you ace it in that period. So good on you. Final tank rewards in the year will feature a winter themed mission where you can earn extra tank reward points if you compete in the Tiger 131. So the mission started today, the 1st of December, and ends on the 15th of January. Again, another thing, tank rewards, they get this in North America. I wish we did. Project Valor. Since May, we've been offering Project Valor emblems with all the proceeds to charity. If you purchase one of the 4 emblems, and you get the exclusive 5th and final Valor crest free by playing a game. If you missed any of them, you can buy them in the shop. Okay, good for you. And the special weekend events, 1st to the 4th. So this week earn a credit chest. 8th to the 11th, happy holiday warm-up, whatever that means, and 22nd to the 2nd, happy holiday with discounts. So there you go. Lots of good stuff on North America as well. So Wargaming's crusade against illegal mods and illegal play continues, which is to be applauded, and the numbers seem to be down, which is good. So another round of bans and penalties been announced. So North American server, 169 were given warnings and 91 accounts were banned. EU 1,600 were penalised. 600 were banned, and Russian server 13,000 were warned, and nearly 3,000 were banned. So there you go. Nothing here on the Asian server, but I guess they all have the same sort of proportion, probably small numbers as well because there's less of them. So yeah, good stuff. Pleased to see they're continuing up the hard work, because I don't get why people cheat, but and at least you have a warning if you're using a mod that you don't know. But for goodness sake, if you're using a mod, go and check it out. Just, it's not difficult. I mean, the mods I use from Solo, he guarantees that they're all okay to be used. And I know, so just don't go and just pick off any random mod off the website that you think looks interesting. A, they're hotbed of malware and all kinds of dodgy downloads. But B, you can end up getting banned for it without realizing it. I mean, there are people who deliberately do use bad mods, but if you're not sure, don't risk it. Go and use one of the approved list of mods if you must use mods. Anyway. Good to see they're working hard to eradicate some of the cheating. There's still some weird shit goes on. I've been in games where I'm getting there was one I think I posted actually, where I was in a light tank and an AT7 just came straight at me. Now maybe he was just lucky, but it didn't look like it. He looked like he knew exactly where I was, and I was never spotted by anybody at all. And I wasn't in a particularly obvious bush, but he drove straight at me and killed me. Makes me suspicious, but hopefully he'll get found out and removed from the game if he was cheating. So I don't know whether I've got any viewers from the Latin American region, but good news for you guys, if you are on, is that they're testing a new Latin American server, which is kind of cool. So obviously the further away you are from the server, the higher the pings. So if you are down and you're trying to, I guess this Latin Americans are using the US server. I don't know wherever they are, but they're testing a new server which would be based in Chile, I believe. So yeah, good news, I reckon. So it's they're testing it from 29th of November, so that's already running, and it'll be available basically to players in the region to try out. So between 10 to 1 in the each day is the time the tests are happening. So yeah, good. I mean, I think that's all the better. So I guess what will happen? There was another region, wasn't it, where they did a similar thing. You could transfer for free your account onto the new server. I guess the question mark is how many players are there? The play in the Latin American region, is there going to be enough if you relocate there from another server? Does that mean that your player base goes down to such a level there aren't many players to play against? I don't know, but clearly Wargaming think there's enough to invest in a new server, which is kind of cool. So good on them. So there's also been a few little tweaks to the test server that's currently running, the 9.21 test server. As I said earlier, I suspect we're looking at around the 13th of December for the real thing to come into the game. We discussed it already. The customization interface will come into this test server. I can't get on it this morning, which is a bit annoying. I wanted to have a look, but it doesn't seem to be running yet. But you'll have a chance to try out the customization, which is kind of interesting. And there's an option to disable seeing non-historical elements in the battle. So for those of you purists, you can hit that button and you don't have to see all this stuff that people have done to their tanks. Couple of nerfs already. So these are the French new heavy tanks. The tier 10, they've reduced its penetration of the 120mm premium ammo from 325 to 315, so 10mm less. The tier 9 one, they're doing the same with that, from 325 to 315, and the slightly larger gun, the 127mm, is increasing from 258 to 270. So that makes more sense in some ways. And then the tier 8 version, I didn't even realise the 120 had that same penetration. So 320 is now going down to 252, which doesn't make sense if it's the same gun, but makes sense that a tier 8 doesn't have 325mm of penetration with its premium rounds. And also the ST1, they're looking at improving its armour. Now I always thought the ST1 was actually pretty, or STI was pretty good armour. But they're improving it still, so there you go. So a couple of little test server changes. If I can get on it, I'll try and try out the customization. At the moment I can't get on it, but maybe it's just being updated. We shall see. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you found it useful and interesting. I wish you a happy December the 1st, ready for all the shenanigans that is Christmas and the festive period generally. And particularly if you get a chance to play any of World of Tanks, because there's obviously a lot happens at this time of year. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. In the meantime, enjoy your games, have fun, try not to take it too seriously, and I will see you again soon. This is Gamer Dom signing out.